Okay, my name is Alyssa Hust. This is my student Jennifer Holm. Today we're going to be working on Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring from the James Bastian Level 1 book. And this is going to be the 20-minute section of recorded lesson. So, thank you, Jennifer. Sorry.
Yes, I'm ready.
Appreciate it. All right, so what you're working on here is a song by Bach. And what I tell all my students is if we're working on a song by Bach, we can just automatically double the amount of time we'd expect to spend on the song. So it looks like a fairly simple, straightforward song, but it's going to be really important that your fingering is correct, and that your notes are correct, just that you're working carefully, reading through it. We're going to start hands separately first, and I'd like you to count out loud.
Okay.
Now this particular arrangement says they want andante. Andante is a slow walking speed. So this is kind of the speed that you would picture if, you know, the bride is walking up the aisle. She's not loping up the aisle. She's also not like, no, leave me.
Okay.
So moving forward, but not quickly.
Okay, so count out loud, right hand first.
Yes, so
Okay.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to write some of your notes in the notebook,
Okay.
Like we always do every week, just to kind of get you started with it.
Okay.
So another thing when we're working on Bach is no pedaling. It's not appropriate for the era. You know, at the time the modern piano hadn't been invented yet. So Bach was primarily composing for the harpsichord, organ, or actually choirs. And so a lot of his songs was inspired by the early church music where it had multiple voices.
Okay.
Now this song in particular, this arrangement really is just the soprano line. But we want it to sing out as if it's a singer. So the left hand is going to be very soft and gentle and quiet. And then on this particular arrangement, they're letting you put a little bit of pedaling in right on this last line. But again, that's not really period specific as much as it's going to allow us to do the left hand over while we're kind of holding that bass note that they have right there. So I'm going to put some notes in your notebook here for you to remind you what to do. Would you like to try, let's do left hand first, because it's a nice simple left hand, just very, very slowly. You can either sing the name of the note with long pause, because we're in 3/4 timing, so we've got 3 beats in each measure, or you could count it out loud. Do you have a preference?
I prefer to count.
Count it out loud? Okay, so nice and slow, counting out loud, starting with that G in the left hand.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3,
Yep, very good job. All right, nice work. So go ahead and put your right hand in there. We want to count the initial rest. And you could go a little bit slower because I don't want to rush through this.
Okay.
So there's your rest, and again, counting out loud.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
So,
Right.
okay, so let's stop again before you sight read all the way through it, and let's look at what our key signature is, because we have our timing signature. We already discussed that. We actually discussed that a little bit before the movie started, that it's in 3/4 timing. But what key do we have here if we have 1 sharp?
1 sharp is...
So let's think about
D.
your scales.
D?
Nope.
No.
Good guess.
No.
But so we're going to think about your circle of fifths
Okay.
that we use when we're doing all of your scales. So obviously the key of no sharps or flats would be the key of either C major, A minor. So if we're working around the circle of fifths, let's think about what scale is going to come next.
Right, it's G.
So go ahead and play a G scale, and let's double check it. Does it have 1 sharp in it?
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yep, Right, so the G scale has that F sharp in it. Now, anytime we see that, it's always good to double check, is it in minor mode? Because every scale, every key, we have two versions. We have the major mode and the minor mode. So if it's in the key of G, then that would give us our major mode with 1 sharp. But again, thinking about your scales, which of the minor mode scales has 1 sharp? So what's the relative key for G major?
Oh, okay. That would be E.
Yeah. Very good job, because we would go down that minor third for the E minor.
Right.
Now, so we've narrowed it down to 2 different options. It's either going to be G major or it's going to be E minor. But looking at this particular song, we want to see, okay, so which key are we in between the major and minor options that come with that key of 1 sharp? So what's the first note we have here in our left hand?
G.
What's the first note we have in our right hand?
G.
Also a G. Let's look at the end of the song.
G.
We've got a G,
and G,
a G,
and a G.
G. Very good. And if we put all this together, the G, B, D, high G, that would be a broken G scale 1 chord.
Right.
So we can very definitively at that point say we are in the key of G.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if it was E minor, we would find a whole lot of E's in that first and last measure.
Okay.
So starting again, we're going to remember as we go through the song that anytime we have an F, it's going to be in an F sharp. Okay. Just like when we're playing our scale, our G scale, we always have that F sharp. And sometimes it's helpful before we even get into a piece, go ahead and play that scale a few times with the 1, 4, 5 chord transitions.
Okay.
And it kind of just calibrates your hand and your mind to what key we're playing in.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready, nice and slow, because the fingering in this is going to be really, really particular.
Right.
Bach in some ways is like scales, where it's not just about having the right note, you also have to have the right finger on the right note. Because even if you play the right note, if you play it with the wrong finger, it's a little bit like running with your shoelaces untied.
Yeah.
You have a 9 in 10 chances of tripping within the next 3 notes.
Right.
If you're hitting it with the wrong finger.
Okay.
So nice and slow, again, remembering that it's starting with that first downbeat there as a rest.
Okay.
I'm going to keep updating your notebook for you.
Okay. 1,
Really slow.
3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
So if you look at the left hand right there, what they're expecting once you're playing it hands together is we've got that low G in the left hand, the G above middle C in our right hand, and then left hand's going up and over.
Right.
So let's try just that last line, hands together really, really slowly. We're in that wide G hand position. G,
1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
So coming back down, we're going to use the exact same fingering.
Okay.
So the left hand only plays that high G, and then we're going to come down on the D. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's try that again from right here.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Feels a little bit better, huh?
Yes.
Okay, good job. Do you have any questions for me about how to work on this one at home?
No, I do not.
Okay,
no.
Did the fingering feel comfortable to you?
It was, it was okay.
Okay.
A little odd in
weird.
some spots. But
Yeah, the right in here, let's see, on the 6th measure of this arrangement, there's actually 2 different fingerings that we can use in this spot.
Okay.
And because this book has been kind of designed more towards children, the fingering that they're choosing here is kind of guided towards smaller hands. So when I'm playing this particular song here, I'm actually going to grab the camera here just so that I can show our video recorders right as we go through here to our 6th measure in our fifth and sixth measures, they're recommending second finger, thumb, second finger over and back to first finger. But sometimes in that section, if we've got an adult-sized hand, a different, better fingering can be, I'm going to pick up right here on the D. We have D, G, F sharp, G. So I could go 3, 2, 1, and reach that whole octave with my one hand.
Right.
And then just make sure as I'm going up, see, we end up running into a little bit of an issue here because I've changed this G to my second finger.
Right.
So then as I come up, I'm going to have to put a thumb under up here, which might be awkward. So it's more convenient coming down right here to do all of that with one hand, but then it leads me into a position of, okay, maybe thumb under right here on that E, or excuse me, on the C, D, E. But again, C impacts me there. So that's one of the challenges. As soon as we try and change fingering with Bach, it pushes problems farther ahead.
Yeah.
So, but fingering is more like guidelines than actual rules.
Okay.
And as an adult student with, nice big hands, feel free to go over it at home this week. I'd love to actually hear a little bit about that at your next lesson.
Yeah.
Did you like this fingering? Would you like to use a different fingering? Because this isn't, Urtext Bach or anything like that. This isn't, the original arrangements. We've got a rendition of it here that's already been arranged and edited, and it's been arranged and edited by a very good teacher, a very capable musician. But again, it was more tailored towards smaller hands.
Okay.
Would you be up for trying it hands together, or would you like to work on that at
real
home?
slow. I can do it hands
slow.
Together.
Okay,
yeah.
Let's see how
and I'll
that
just
goes.
stick with this fingering.
Yeah, let's
it did
stick
feel
with
a little
that fingering
funny
for right
to have
now.
that 2 and 1.
Yeah, it does with the second finger over there.
Okay.
Okay, very, very, very slowly.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1,
So before we had started the video, I hadn't had a chance to really go over your skills and technique at all, but I wanted to touch on that briefly. For Hannon, I think you were on Hannon number 8.
Yes.
And how is that feeling for you?
Good.
Okay.
Much better.
Do you think you want to keep it for another week?
I'd like to keep it because I want to work on my speed.
The speed.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and just keep going forward with that one.
Okay.
And then for your scales, we had talked about kind of how minor mode interfaces with it, which actually worked out perfect because then I used that with your song today. And then you were doing the 5-finger scales. How far around the circle of fifths were you able to work?
Twice I've gotten around the whole thing.
Ooh, congratulations.
But it took a lot of thinking and a lot of time. So some mistakes on my chords.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to overwhelm myself. So I just backed up and decided get good at 5.
Right. Oh,
so
perfect.
that's what I did as I worked on the first 5.
Okay.
Just to feel comfortable with that, rather than trying to work the whole thing over and over,
and make lots of mistakes
feeling
and push them forward.
Okay.
Well, would you go ahead and play those first 5 for me? That would be really great. because I
Okay.
think you're getting nervous, and because each one you're doing a little bit faster and faster and faster.
Okay.
So take a deep breath, and just nice and smooth, up and downhill, 5-finger scale. So how's that feeling overall? Are you feeling confident, or not confident,
Well,
like good
yes,
with your work, satisfied with your progress?
I think I'm satisfied enough with those first 5.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. So let's give you a couple of more this week.
Okay.
We're going to move you forward to that G sharp minor scale. And what we're going to be doing is working the bottom 3 of that circle of fifths. So these are the notes that have all 5 black notes. And we've already worked them in major mode. So let me just get caught up with you a little bit here. Do you want to try and find the next one by yourself? The G sharp minor. Let's do just your right hand for a second. And go ahead and give that a try. So the next one then is going to be that D sharp E flat, and this is that scale that really we can read it either way. You know, the first half of the circle, it's easiest to see them all as sharps. The last half of the circle, it's easiest to see them all as flats. But this is that scale that can truly go either way. Because it's going to either have 6 flats or 6 sharps. So it's not impacted easier or harder based on which one we choose. So go ahead and try and find that one, the D sharp. Do you want to do hands separate or hands together?
I'll do hands separate.
Okay.
So I find that I go to that major sound really easy.
Yes. Well, because we worked on the major scales for a really, really long time. So we're kind of getting your ear acclimated to what that minor mode is going to sound like. And then hands together. So usually in the past I've written it all out for you with the notes and the chords and all of that, but you're picking them up really fast. Do you feel comfortable working it without me writing out the chords for you?
Yes, because I can hear where there's a mistake, and usually I've got a finger out too far.
Yes.
So it's a little tucked in. It has this more tucked in feeling to it. So.
Well, and you've heard all of your kids work through these.
Yes, exactly.
So it's not like you haven't heard them before.
Yes.
It's just a matter of getting your hands used to
I have
them.
a leg up, so yeah.
All right, well, let's do the one more then.
Okay.
That A sharp B flat minor mode,
B
5-finger scale.
Right here.
There you go.
B flat. A sharp B flat.
A sharp B flat.
Okay.
And then just to check real quick, we've been working in the Journey Through the Classics green book, and you had the melody, the Arabian Air. Did you have any questions for me on that one?
No, I've just been working it real slow.
Okay, perfect. So let me get just all the way caught up in the notebook here. Any other questions for me?
No.
Okay, sounds good. You got your kids out there?
Yes, Scarlett is.
Okay. All right, let me get this finished, and then I just need to show our video audience the different notes that I'm sending you home with here. Thanks again for being willing to be my guinea pig here. So I'm gonna turn the camera around. Nope, it doesn't want to turn around. Okay, so here we go. This is her notebook that she's going home with this week. She's got her practice log on the top. We got the circle of fifths, her scales, Hanon, and then there's her new song that we're just getting started on today. And we will see you again at her next lesson. Thank you. Bye-bye.